So, a bit of a recap on the month of January for the training and development that you guys have seen, the one day of what we do every day at Raw Selection. So, a lot of self-reflection type work, well, overall a lot of mindset work, but we've covered lots of self-reflection work, lots of our big motto, which is doing the simple things brilliantly, and then also covered into Tim Grover and the 2 books that I've read about him, which if you've not seen those, absolutely check those out, and if you haven't read them, absolutely read them. But hopefully this has brought you a load of value and is helping you achieve your goals and your revenue targets for 2023. I want you to ask yourself the why and what questions in both a negative and positive perspective. So I want you to write down these questions and I want you to go away and think about them and give them some consideration. So I want you to think of this in a both positive way, but also, let's just go with negative, let's not beat around the bush. Why should a private equity firm work with you? So I want you to answer that question cynically of why the hell should they work with you? And also, absolutely, why should they be working with you? So why should your client work with you? Similar question, but may probe different answers. Why should they even consider you for their search? What do you bring to the table that your competitors don't? What do your competitors bring to the table that you don't? Why do you deserve to achieve your target? And then last is a what question. What are you going to do about the answers you've just written? Right, we're going to highlight an old topic that we've covered previously, which is the simple things brilliantly again. So I want you to think about every press call that you do. How do you make it brilliant? I want you to think of every BD call that you do. How do you make it brilliant? When you think of even the emails that you send, how do you make it brilliant? There was an email sent yesterday where a client had messaged and said, we have this, and this going on, and we're about to do a roll-up. And we'd like to talk to you about it. We need to recognise that it's a bit like when you do a placement, an interview going through to a final interview and you're at offer stage, that's where they are at when they get to letter of intent stage, LOI stage referred to as. Okay? We've got to recognise that and enjoy that with them. Because imagine if when you got to that stage, the client rang you up and said, do you know what, Naya, done an amazing job. Really appreciate it. These guys are great. Got 4 at shortlist. Really pleased with it. Mo, you sent us across 4 fantastic candidates. Really pleased with that. It motivates you that little bit more. It builds a little bit of rapport. It builds a little bit of, do you know, I'm doing a good job. So when you recognise that your clients as individuals have done something great, they've raised a new fund. Don't skim over that. That's a big deal for them. That's like having your best year billing ever in recruitment when they raise a new fund. They do it once every 4 or 5 years maybe. And they're not raising, oh yeah, what did we do? Yeah, we raised a £5 and I got £5 off my mate down the road. Raised 1.5 billion. 1.5 billion. That is a huge amount of money. If they've got a deal that they're at close for, congratulate them. Recognise, do the simple things brilliant. If you see an opportunity, build a relationship. Get into extra dialogue. I saw that email and I emailed the client and said, firstly, congratulations on the potential roll-up and putting together an investment thesis. I know personally how difficult and how competitive things are at the moment. So if you've got an opportunity to not only acquire one business, but probably to acquire 3, 4, 5, congratulations. And then I got into exactly what I wanted to discuss. So listen to your client, listen to your prospects, listen to your candidates, because that's what will turn your relationships into searches. You've always got to be thinking, how do I leverage this? How do I give them recognition? How do I keep in rapport with them? Well, skimming over when they give you information on something important is not that way. The next message, linked to the last message, is being relentless, right? Relentless is a simple word that probably means a lot to lots of different people, right? There's 2 books that I know that are called Relentless. One is Eddie Hearn's book, which is called Relentless, and 2 is Tim Grover's book, which is also called Relentless. When you're operating in your day-to-day and what you're doing is raising the intensity of what you're doing. Why can somebody get through 15 BD dials in half an hour and the other person take an hour? Why does one person get through a Ravi list in 2 hours and the other person do it in 3? Maybe somebody's quicker at typing. Okay, does it take an extra hour? Probably not. It's the intensity and the relentless nature of what you're doing. It's focusing around and getting this task done. I'll show you something I said with private equity. It's not a nice thought, but it's an interesting, if we don't take it literally, but I want you to think about the scenario. If I put a gun to each one of your family members' heads, or one of your family members' heads, one that you like, not that you dislike, and I said, if you don't get a new search on today, I'm going to shoot them. I usually use a dog analogy or an animal analogy because it's usually a little bit less intense, but would you do everything in your power to get a search on? Now, let's use that same analogy, but I'm going to put it, if everybody printed their goals out, or when they got their plaques that's on their desk right now with your goals on, and I said to you, if you don't achieve them, that's it. You never get the opportunity to achieve those goals. It's this year or nothing, and it burns, and you burn your goal if you don't go for it. Or if you put the timeline of your goals down to the end of today, yes, it might be absolutely impossible to achieve some of those goals because some of them perhaps, cannot be done in a day. But what if you had to take all the actions that you needed to do in order to achieve those? It's that relentlessness and continuous level of intensity that changes the outcome of what you're going to receive. So, this is his final part. There's acknowledgements and different bits in here and a bit of a story, but that plugs a little book for his. But this is in the final chapter, what he says. Always demand more of yourself than others demand of you. Be honest with yourself and you'll be able to meet every challenge with confidence and a deep belief that you are prepared for anything. Life can be complicated, the truth is not. I truly believe I have zero limitations. You should believe the same about yourself. Listen to your instincts. They're telling you the truth. I want the satisfaction of knowing that every move I make, every thought, every idea, every action takes me further than anyone else has ever gone and makes me better at what I do than anyone else in the world. That's what drives me. Whatever drives you, let it take you where you want to be. Everything you want can be yours. Be a cleaner and go get it. Be relentless. Done. Next.